The Forgotten Asylum. In the heart of the dense, fog-laden woods of Blackwood stood an old asylum, long abandoned and shrouded in mystery. The townsfolk spoke of it in whispers, recounting tales of the tormented souls who once resided within its crumbling walls. No one dared to venture near, except for a group of friends who were drawn to its eerie allure. It was a chilly October evening when Lisa, Mark, Jenny, and Tom decided to explore the asylum. Armed with flashlights and a sense of adventure, they made their way through the twisted trees, the moon casting ghostly shadows on their path. "We shouldn't be here," Jenny whispered, clutching Mark's arm. "This place gives me the creeps." "Come on. It's just an old building," Mark replied, trying to mask his own unease. "We'll be in and out in no time." As they approached the massive iron gates, they creaked open as if inviting them in. The air grew colder, and the scent of decay and mold filled their nostrils. Pushing aside their fears, they stepped into the overgrown courtyard, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The entrance to the asylum loomed before them, its wooden doors hanging on rusted hinges. With a deep breath, Lisa pushed one of the doors open, and they entered the dark, foreboding interior. The walls were covered in peeling paint, and the floors were littered with debris. "Let's split up and see what we can find," Tom suggested, his voice barely above a whisper. Reluctantly, they agreed. Mark and Jenny headed down a long corridor while Lisa and Tom explored the main hall. The dim beams of their flashlights flickered as they moved deeper into the asylum, the oppressive silence broken only by the sound of their own breathing. Lisa and Tom came across an old office, its walls lined with dusty filing cabinets and yellowed papers. As they rummaged through the clutter, Lisa found a tattered journal. She opened it, revealing pages filled with handwritten notes and unsettling sketches. "This must belong to one of the doctors," Lisa said, showing Tom the journal. Tom's eyes widened as he read one of the entries aloud. "Experiments on the patients have yielded disturbing results. Their minds are unraveling, and some have become violently unstable. We must proceed with caution." A chill ran down their spines. They realized that the asylum's dark history was more sinister than they had imagined. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the corridor where Mark and Jenny had gone. "Let's find them," Lisa said, fear creeping into her voice. They rushed down the hallway, calling out for their friends. Their flashlights flickered and then went out, plunging them into darkness. Panicked, they fumbled to turn them back on, but the lights remained stubbornly dead. "Mark!" Jenny, Tom shouted, his voice echoing off the walls. A faint, eerie whisper seemed to answer him, growing louder and more insistent. The air grew colder, and an overwhelming sense of dread filled the corridor. Lisa grabbed Tom's hand, and they stumbled through the darkness, desperate to find their friends. Suddenly, they saw a faint glow ahead. They hurried toward it, finding Mark and Jenny huddled in a small room, their faces pale with terror. "Something's here," Mark whispered, his voice trembling. "We need to get out, now." As they turned to leave, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. The temperature dropped further, and the walls seemed to close in on them. Shadows writhed and twisted, taking on grotesque forms. The friends huddled together, their breaths coming in shallow gasps. "We have to stay calm," Lisa said, trying to keep her voice steady. "There's got to be a way out." Tom's flashlight sputtered back to life, casting a weak beam of light. He shone it around the room, revealing a hidden door partially obscured by a tattered curtain. With renewed hope, they pushed it open and stumbled into a narrow passage. The passage twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the bowels of the asylum. The oppressive atmosphere weighed heavily on them, but they pressed on, driven by a desperate need to escape. Finally, they reached a staircase that led up to a boarded-up door. Using all their strength, they pried the boards loose and burst through the door, finding themselves back in the courtyard. The cold night air was a welcome relief as they ran toward the gates, not daring to look back. Once they were safely outside, they collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath. The asylum loomed behind them, dark and silent once more. "We need to tell someone," Jenny said, her voice shaking. "People need to know what happened here." As they made their way back to town, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The shadows seemed to follow them, whispering secrets of the asylum's dark past. And though they had escaped with their lives, they knew that the memories of that night would haunt them forever. From that day on, the friends never spoke of their ordeal again. The asylum remained a place of darkness and mystery, its secrets buried within its crumbling walls. And for those who dared to venture near, the legend of the Forgotten Asylum served as a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurked in the shadows.